Before we start, I need to say this. All three of these stories come from people who went camping and came back different. Not hurt, not missing, just not the same. And in one of these stories, something didn't stay in the woods. So if you're alone right now, maybe don't turn the lights off just yet. Because these are 3 camping stories that get worse the longer you listen. We weren't trying to do anything extreme. It was just supposed to be a normal weekend camping trip, the kind people post about and forget a week later. Me, Ryan, and Marcus had been talking about it for months, mostly because we were all getting tired of the city. Too much noise, too many people, not enough space to think. Ryan was the one who found the location. He sent us a pin earlier that week with a message. No reception, no people. Exactly what we said we wanted. That should have been a red flag, but at the time, it sounded perfect. We left Friday afternoon, right after work. Ryan drove, his old Tacoma that sounded like it was always about to fall apart, but somehow never did. Marcus sat in the passenger seat messing with the music, and I was in the back with the gear, trying not to get crushed every time we hit a bump. The drive was normal for the first couple of hours. Highway, gas station stop, grabbing snacks, nothing weird. It wasn't until we turned off onto the logging road that things started to feel different. The GPS cut out almost immediately. Ryan didn't seem worried. "I downloaded the map," he said, tapping his phone. "We're good." The road got narrower the deeper we went. Trees closed in on both sides, thick enough that the sunlight barely made it through. At one point, Marcus joked, "If we break down out here, we're actually screwed." No one laughed. We finally reached the clearing just before sunset. Looked like any other backcountry campsite, flat ground, surrounded by trees, with a small fire ring someone had built out of rocks. No signs, no markings. Just there. "Perfect," Ryan said. And honestly, it was. At first, we set up quickly. Tents went up. Fire got going. Cooler opened. It all felt normal enough that whatever weird feeling I had on the drive kind of faded. We sat around the fire, talking about nothing important. Work, random stories, stuff like that. The sky went dark faster than I expected, like someone dimmed the whole forest at once. That's when I noticed something. It wasn't silent, but it wasn't alive either. No insects, no wind, just this low, constant stillness. The first whistle came about an hour later. Soft, almost easy to miss. Just a single, clean note drifting through the trees. Marcus looked up. "You hear that?" Ryan shrugged. "Probably a bird or something." It didn't sound like a bird. It sounded intentional. A few minutes passed. Then it came again. Same exact note. Same pitch. Same length. I remember feeling this weird tightness in my chest, like my body recognized something was off before my brain did. "That's not random," I said. Ryan didn't answer. The third time it happened, it sounded closer. Not loud, just closer. Like it had moved. We all kinda sat there, pretending not to care. No one wanted to be the first to say what we were all thinking, because saying it out loud would make it real. Eventually, Marcus broke the silence. "Okay, that's not normal." Ryan stood up and grabbed his flashlight. "I'm just gonna take a quick look." "Dude, don't," I said immediately. He gave me that look, half annoyed, half amused. "It's probably nothing." And then he stepped into the trees. The moment he disappeared, the whistle stopped. Completely. Marcus and I just stared at the edge of the woods, waiting, listening. "Ryan?" Marcus called out. No response. 5 minutes passed, then 10. I stood up. This isn't funny anymore, Marcus nodded. Yeah, we should go check. But before we could move, the whistle came back, right behind us. We both turned so fast I almost tripped. There was nothing there, just darkness. And then, from somewhere deeper in the trees, Ryan screamed. It wasn't a long scream. That's what made it worse. It just cut off, like someone hit mute. Marcus grabbed my arm. We need to go, now. We didn't even argue. We ran. I don't remember the path. I don't remember thinking, just running. Branches hitting my face, dirt slipping under my boots, heart pounding so hard it felt like it might knock me over. At some point, I realized something that didn't make sense. The forest still wasn't making any noise, not even from us. We reached the truck somehow. I don't know how we found it that fast. It felt like we should have been lost. Ryan wasn't there. Marcus jumped into the passenger seat. Go. Just go. I hesitated for maybe 2 seconds. Then I started the engine. We drove without saying a word. No music, no talking. Just the sound of the engine and gravel under the tires. When we finally got signal, we called the police. They searched the area the next day. We went back with them. I didn't want to, but I felt like I had to. The campsite looked exactly the same. Like nothing had happened. They found Ryan about 200 yards from where we had been, sitting against a tree, alive. But something was wrong. He wasn't injured. No blood. No visible damage. But he wouldn't speak, wouldn't look at anyone. Just sat there, staring at the ground. When they tried to get him up, he resisted. Not violently, just refused. The only thing he did was react when one of the officers whistled to get someone's attention. Ryan flinched, hard, like he'd been hit. They took him to the hospital. Marcus and I went home. We didn't talk much after that, not for a while. 3 days later, I got a call from Marcus. He sounded off. You need to hear this, he said. He sent me a voicemail from Ryan's number. I almost didn't play it, but I did. It started with static. Then a whistle, 2 short, 1 long. Over and over. Exactly the same pattern we heard in the forest. And then, underneath it, barely audible, Ryan's voice, whispering, "Followed you too." We weren't planning to stay there. That's the part that keeps bothering me, even now. It wasn't our campsite. It wasn't even on our route. We only found it because we took a wrong turn about a mile back when the trail split, and the sign was either missing or knocked down. Ethan said he thought we went the wrong way, but Jake insisted it looped around. It didn't. We had already been hiking for about 5 hours at that point. Nothing crazy, just a long trail through a national forest, the kind where you still pass people every now and then. But after that wrong turn, everything changed. We stopped seeing people. No voices, no distant footsteps, no signs of anyone. Just trees, and that weird feeling that the forest had gotten deeper. We should have turned back right then. Instead, we kept going. By the time we realized we weren't where we were supposed to be, the sun was already starting to drop. That golden hour light was cutting through the trees, but it didn't feel warm. It felt like we were running out of time. That's when we saw the campsite. It was just off the trail, maybe 30 feet in. Not marked, not official, but clearly used. There was a tent already set up, a fire ring with fresh ash, and a backpack leaning against a tree. Jake immediately said, "Perfect. Someone already did the work for us." Ethan didn't move. "Where are they?" he asked. No one answered, because that was the first thing I noticed too. There was no one there. No voices, no movement, nothing. Just their stuff. Laura called out first. "Hello?" Her voice sounded weird out there. Like it didn't travel right. No response. Jake shrugged and dropped his pack. "They're probably out hiking." "At sunset," Ethan said. Jake didn't respond to that. None of us did. But we stayed anyway. That decision didn't feel like a big one at the time. We were tired, it was getting dark, and the spot was already set up. It felt easier than trying to backtrack in fading light. So we set up our tents around theirs. Not too close, but not far either. Close enough that we could see it. The entire time. We made a fire, ate something quick, and tried to relax. But no one really did. Because the tent never moved. No one came back. Not once. At some point, Laura said, "I don't like this." And honestly, none of us did. Jake tried to play it off. "You're overthinking it." People leave camp all the time. "With their phone?" Ethan said. We all looked at him. "What?" He pointed at the tent. "There's a light inside. It's been on this whole time." That's when things shifted, because we all noticed it at the same time. A faint glow from inside the tent. It hadn't been there earlier. Or maybe it had, and we just didn't see it. Either way, none of us liked it. Jake stood up. "I'm checking it." "No, don't," Laura said immediately. But he was already walking over. I remember the sound of the zipper, louder than it should have been. He paused for a second before opening it. Then he leaned inside and went completely still. "Jake?" I said. He didn't answer. Then he slowly reached in and pulled something out. A phone. The screen was on. He turned it toward us. "There's a video playing." We all got closer. We probably shouldn't have. But we did. The video showed the campsite. This campsite. Same trees. Same angle. But it was nighttime. And in the video, there was someone standing at the edge of the woods. Just standing there. Watching. Not moving. Not reacting. Just there. The person recording was breathing fast. Whispering something. We turned the volume up. "Don't let it see you." The video cut out. No ending. No explanation. Just black. No one spoke for a few seconds. Then Ethan said quietly, "We're leaving." No one argued. We packed fast. Too fast. Stuff got shoved into bags. Fire left half out. No one cared about being neat. We just wanted out. But when we got back to the trail, it wasn't there. I know how that sounds, but it wasn't. The direction we came from was just trees. No path, no opening. Nothing. Jake frowned. "That's not right." Ethan started walking in another direction. "It's this way." We followed him. 10 minutes later, we were back at the campsite. Same exact spot, same tent, same everything. We didn't say anything at first, because none of us wanted to admit what that meant. So we tried again. Different direction. Same result. Back at the campsite. Again. By the third time, Laura was crying. "This isn't real," she kept saying. "This doesn't make sense." Jake was pacing, running his hands through his hair. "We're just turned around, that's all." But his voice didn't sound convincing, not even to himself. Night fell fast after that. Too fast. Like someone flipped a switch, the forest went completely dark. And that's when we saw it. At the edge of the trees, the same figure from the video, standing there, watching us. No movement, no sound, just there. Ethan whispered, "Don't look at it." We all froze, because we all remembered the video. Don't let it see you. But how do you avoid being seen by something that's already looking at you? No one had an answer. We stayed by the fire, close together. No one speaking above a whisper. Every time someone accidentally looked toward the trees, they would look away immediately, like it mattered, like it could tell. Hours passed, or at least it felt like it. Then Jake stood up. "I'm not doing this," he said. "Jake," Laura started. "I'm not staying here all night waiting for whatever that is," he said, grabbing his flashlight. He turned it on and aimed it straight at the figure. For the first time, it reacted. Not by moving, but by disappearing. Just gone. Like it was never there. Jake laughed. A nervous, shaky laugh. "See? Nothing." And then he walked into the trees. "Jake, stop!" Ethan shouted, but he kept going. The light from his flashlight got smaller and smaller until it disappeared completely. We waited. At first we thought he'd come back. Then 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Then we heard something. Not footsteps. Not branches. A voice. Jake's voice, calling out. "Hey, I think I found the trail." Ethan stood up immediately. "That's him." But something felt wrong. The direction. The tone. It sounded like him. But not exactly. Laura grabbed his arm. "Wait." The voice came again. Closer this time. "Guys, come on. It's over here." Ethan hesitated, then shook his head. "No," he said. "No, that's not him." The voice didn't sound annoyed. Didn't sound impatient. It just kept repeating. "Over here. Come on." Found it. Same tone. Same spacing. Like it was being replayed. Over and over. We didn't move. We didn't respond. Eventually, the voice stopped. Completely. The rest of the night was silent. No figure. No voice. Nothing. When morning came, the trail was there. Exactly where it should have been. Clear. Obvious. Like it had never disappeared. We didn't question it. We didn't try to understand. We just left. Fast. We didn't stop until we reached the main trail again. And even then, none of us said anything. A week later, I saw a post online. Missing hiker. Jake. Last seen near a backcountry area. There was a picture. Same clothes, same backpack, same everything. The location listed was close. Too close. They said search teams found signs of a campsite. Abandoned. No tent. No gear. Just a fire ring. And footprints. Walking into the trees. But none coming back. I haven't gone camping since. And I don't think I ever will again. Because the part I can't stop thinking about is that video. It wasn't just recording something. It was a warning. And we still stayed. I don't talk about this much anymore. Not because I forgot, but because every time I try to explain it, it starts to sound less real. Like something I made up or exaggerated over time. And the worst part is, I used to be the kind of person who didn't believe in anything like this. I worked with radio equipment. Nothing extreme, just amateur-level signal tracking, shortwave listening, scanning frequencies for fun. It was a hobby I picked up in college and never really dropped. Most of what you hear out there is predictable. Aviation chatter, weather reports, static, the occasional weird interference. There's always an explanation. Or at least, there's supposed to be. Daniel was the one who brought me out there. We'd known each other for a few years. He wasn't deep into radio stuff like I was, but he knew enough to get curious. About a week before the trip, he called me and said he'd been picking up something strange on one of his receivers. At first, I didn't think much of it. People hear weird things all the time on open frequencies. But then he sent me a recording, and that's when I started paying attention. It wasn't just static. It had structure, a repeating pattern, consistent intervals, almost like a loop, but not mechanical. There was variation, subtle but noticeable, like something adjusting itself. "What do you think it is?" he asked me over the phone. "I don't know yet," I said, "but it's not random." That was enough for him. He suggested we go out to where he first picked it up, said the signal was strongest out there. Deep in the forest, far from interference. I hesitated at first. Then I said, "Yes." I wish I hadn't. We drove out early Saturday morning. Same kind of setup as any normal trip. Truck loaded with gear, coolers, tents. My radio equipment packed carefully in hard cases. The drive was long but uneventful, mostly highway, until we cut off onto a narrow service road. The deeper we went, the weaker the signal got. Phones dropped to 0 bars. GPS lagged. Daniel seemed excited about that. "Less interference," he said. I didn't respond. Something about it didn't feel right. Not yet fear. Just resistance. Like part of me didn't want to be there. We reached the spot around noon. It wasn't a marked campsite, just a clearing surrounded by dense trees, with enough space to set up equipment without obstruction. Daniel said this was where he first picked up the signal. We set everything up before anything else. That was the whole point of the trip. Receiver, antenna, laptop, recording system. The moment I powered it on, we got it. Clear. Stronger than the recording he sent me. Same pattern, repeating every 47 seconds. Exactly. That kind of precision usually means something intentional. "See?" Daniel said. "I told you." I nodded, but I wasn't excited. I was trying to understand it. We spent the next few hours analyzing it, adjusting frequencies, isolating layers, trying to clean up the noise. The more we filtered, the stranger it got. Because underneath the static, there was rhythm. Not audio in the normal sense, not speech. More like breathing. Slow. Uneven. But consistent enough to not be random. I remember leaning back and saying, "This doesn't sound like a transmission." Daniel frowned. "Then what is it?" I didn't answer. Because I didn't have one. We kept recording. As the sun started to go down, the signal didn't weaken. It got stronger. Which didn't make sense. Most signals fluctuate. This one was stabilizing. Like it was locking onto something. Or someone. We set up camp after that. Quick, minimal effort. Neither of us was really focused on the camping part anymore. Everything was about the signal. By nightfall, it had become impossible to ignore. Not louder, but clearer. More defined. Like it was resolving. At exactly 2:13 a.m., everything changed. I remember the time because I checked it. The pattern stopped. Not faded. Stopped. Dead silence through the receiver. Daniel looked at me. Did it just, before he could finish, it came back. Different. The interval was gone. No repeating loop. Instead, it shifted. Unpredictable. Reactive. I leaned forward, adjusting the gain. Something's changed. "Are we picking up another signal?" Daniel asked. "No," I said. "It's the same one." Then we heard it. Underneath the noise, a voice, distorted, broken, but human. We both froze. It was faint, almost buried in the interference. But it was there. I turned up the volume, filtered out as much noise as I could. The voice became clearer, and then it said something. "Don't answer." We looked at each other. Neither of us had transmitted anything. We were only receiving. I checked the transmitter. Still off. No outgoing signal. "Did you hear that?" Daniel whispered. "Yes." The signal shifted again. Stronger. Sharper. The equipment started glitching. Screen flickering. Audio warping. Like it was being overloaded. "Kill it," Daniel said. I reached for the power switch, but before I could turn it off, the radio transmitted. On its own. The speaker clicked. Static burst. And then, a voice. Daniel's voice. "Hello." We both turned at the same time. Daniel was standing right next to me, silent, not speaking. The radio repeated it. "Hello. Hello. Hello." Same tone, same inflection. Perfect match. "That's not me," Daniel said. I didn't respond. I couldn't. Because something answered. Not through the radio. From outside. From the trees. Same voice. Daniel's voice. "Hello." Closer. We both looked towards the forest. Dark. No movement. But the voice came again. From a different direction. "Hello." It was moving. Circling. Just like the signal earlier. Daniel grabbed my arm. "We need to go." But we didn't move. That's what I regret the most. We stayed. Listening. Trying to understand it. The voice kept calling. Repeating the same word. From different points in the trees. Each time, closer. Then it changed. "Found you." That broke whatever hesitation we had. We ran. Didn't pack. Didn't shut anything down. Just ran. I grabbed my keys. Daniel grabbed nothing. We didn't even look back. The forest felt wrong as we ran. Like the space didn't match the distance. Like we were moving, but not getting anywhere. Behind us, the voice kept shifting. Sometimes Daniel's, sometimes mine. Sometimes something in between. We reached the truck. I don't know how. It felt too fast. Or too easy. We got in and drove. Fast. No headlights at first, just trying to get out. Then I turned them on. The road looked normal. Too normal. We didn't speak for the first 10 minutes. Then Daniel said, "It used my voice." I nodded. "It used yours too," he added. I didn't respond, because I wasn't sure if that was true, or if I just didn't want to think about it. We didn't stop driving until we got signal again. Neither of us said anything about going back. We both knew we wouldn't. A few days later, I checked the recordings. I almost didn't, but I needed to know. Most of the files were corrupted, audio distorted, unusable, except one, a file we didn't remember recording, time-stamped at 3:02 a.m., almost an hour after we left. I played it. At first, nothing, just low ambient noise, then footsteps, close to the microphone, slow, deliberate, then a voice, mine, whispering, "Don't answer." I shut the laptop immediately. I haven't listened to it again. But sometimes, late at night, when everything's quiet, I think about that signal. Because it wasn't random. It wasn't interference. And it wasn't just recording us. It was learning. And the worst part is, we don't know if it ever stopped. If you made it this far, then you probably felt it too. That weird feeling, like something wasn't finished. Out of all 3 stories, the one that sticks with me the most is the last one. Because it wasn't just something in the woods. It was something that followed. And if there's one thing you should take away from this video, it's this. Not everything out there wants to be found. And some things don't stay where you leave them. If you enjoyed the video, let me know which story felt the most real to you. And if you've ever experienced anything like this, feel free to share it. I read more of them than you'd think. Thanks for listening. Stay safe out there.